and welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your host, Daniel.
And Daniel.
Daniel, I'm not used to you wearing gray during our episodes. I was just looking as you were about to give me the signal at the start of the episode. I'm like, with all these colorful board games behind me and you in front of the white wall wearing gray, you just seem really washed out based on this video.
I wear gray all the time.
You do. It's just like look at the comparison.
I think I was in a gray shirt last week. And I have gray hats, too. I was wearing a gray hat yesterday.
Yeah, well, but we didn't film yesterday, and that's what mattered. No, it's just like, it didn't... I didn't notice how bright my shirt was compared to yours right now.
No, yeah.
I was like, I'm wearing the branding colors right here, almost. And you're wearing gray, which is what we all see anyway.
Well, I had to do laundry to make sure I have clean shirts to take with us when we leave for Gamma.
And hopefully that's it. That is one of the clean ones.
No. They're on the drying rack over here.
No, I mean for now.
Oh, no, it's clean.
I mean for my presence.
This was what's left in the laundry, and the thing about with my weight loss that I'm going through, like I have to throw out a lot of shirts, and I told my wife I'm not throwing out any shirts, and she's like, "Why are they like really baggy on you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I could wear baggy shirts. There is no problem with that. I have to keep replacing my pants. That's the problem because I can wear baggy shirts. I gotta worry about the freaking picking up a charge if my pants falls down at the wrong time."
Oh, no kidding. I mean, it's just yeah, I get that on the pants part. Like, my belt has been loosening lately. I'm like, man, I need to get one of those real soon. But the shirts, who cares?
I need to get a new belt. Because the belt now, like when it's tight, goes all the way over here around my hip, basically.
I'll take your word for that. I'm not going to check.
No, it's not even funny about it because it's like normally it'll sit like right here, like at the first two belt loops. I can tie it in. It's over here by my back pocket. It's not even funny.
Yeah, you've had to double lasso.
How's it going, Illuminous?
It's a double lasso tie right there. Hey, Illuminous.
And we've been back. We just had to, push it a couple times on a Tuesday just because we got sick and stuff like that.
Sure, that's right.
But before we get started, there's a thing I wanted to talk about, and it's kind of a serious thing, especially here in the U.S. I was reading an article, and for most people who know in the podcast, I used to be in the medical field for quite a long time. I think I've only been out of the medical field since about 2019. I was trained in EMS. I've worked in and out of like some sort of medical capabilities or just in the healthcare field since I was 19 years old, and I'm 39 now. So about 20 like 15 years total for me. Yeah. But yeah. And my wife still works in the medical field. She is an MRI app specialist now for Philips. And there is a big thing going on in America that needs to be helped. There is a crisis going on, and we don't have enough blood. So if you have a possibility I can't donate at the moment because of my blood pressure. It is getting better, but we need people to go out there and donate blood if you can, because if hospitals run out of blood, people can't get life-saving care. Yep. I was reading an article about it. Like, if there's only 100 units of blood for a specific person or a type of blood, they have to pick and choose who gets that blood. So if they get an emergency into that hospital where all 100 units there, they have to postpone heart surgeries. They have to postpone other surgeries because they need that blood. And when the American Red Cross has a shortage, America has a shortage. Because if the hospitals can work with each other as much as they can, but if the American Red Cross has a shortage, they're the ones that send the blood to them as well. If they have a shortage, they can't send the blood where the hospitals needs it. And it's a big thing, too, right now, because I was reading an article, and I saw this on the news, too. With the cold going on right now, there's not a lot of blood drives going off. There's not a lot of donations. There's a lot more. There's a statistic that January and February tend to be the deadliest months, especially when it comes to cardiovascular diseases and stuff like that, because your heart works harder to keep you warmer, which leads to a lot more for the care and for it to work. And so it puts a lot more strain on the heart, and that's why you see it a lot more in the elderly and the people who have cardiovascular disease. So we need blood out there. If you can, go donate. And there was another reason for the shortage is a big part of it is blood drives are on universities and stuff like that. So that's how they teach their phlebotomists. That's how they teach their nurses and stuff like that. Well, guess what happened about 2 years ago? COVID. And so, or 4 years ago. But it hurt because you didn't have your seniors teaching the new guys, and so now the people who were taught then are leaving the schools, but no new people are getting taught. And so you don't have nurses because they're understaffed in hospitals and stuff like that doing blood drives. You're not seeing a lot of people who run the blood drives out there because they're just short-staffed going on right now. So if you got a chance, please donate.
Okay. Yeah, Daniel told me that he was going to talk about something somewhat serious, but did not tell me what. A little bit. Let's see how I can add some levity to this. First off, 100% agree. I really do. I am a big proponent of donation. I am a little scared of needles, but yes, I have donated blood before.
I've donated quite a bit in my time.
Yep. My wife is deathly scared of needles, so she doesn't. But it's one thing that I absolutely 100% promote, and I think it's very important. And you're right, Mike. A lot of my family and your family have been in the medical field. Mm-hmm. Very important thing. So here's how I'm going to encourage you to do it. All of you fans of Blood on the Clock Tower, gather a group of people. Let's get a thing. Play it at the donation drive. Like, how cool would that be?
That would
right?
actually be kind of neat.
Would that not be like one of the best
Honestly,
things? I just came up with that right now. I love the idea.
I just came
I'm
up
gonna
with
hit up
something.
the company that came up with it.
I just came up with something that to think about for when we do that thing we're trying to do. Maybe we can set something up for during that time too.
Sure, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we need a person running it. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll run it if everyone else is donating. I'll get a copy.
Honestly, you can get like a nurse or someone who's running the blood drive who is into gaming. I know there are some.
Yeah.
They can be the moderator while they're checking all the patients.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That would be so great. Blood drive on the clock tower. All right, there we go.
There you go.
We figured it out, guys. Gamers, unite. Let's go help our people in need. All right, with that being said, today we're going to be talking about today's a retrospective episode. Mm-hmm. Super exciting.
Because what's coming up next month?
Oh, next month. Let me tell you what's coming up. And I'm definitely not bantering because I don't remember. No, I'm just kidding. It's our next year anniversary for the podcast.
We're starting our 5th year next year.
Our 5th year is starting next year, so we have done 4 full years, which is awesome. We're excited to bring that to you. We have a lot of great stuff planned, so we decided to take a retrospective episode today and talk about all of the new games since the beginning of 2023 to today. Mm-hmm. What are all of our best games that are new to us? So some of the ones on this list might not have been printed in that year.
Yeah. It's just new to us.
But some are new to us, and we wanted to bring those. What have been the best top 8 games that we played that were brand new to us within the past year and a few months?
And the reason why we've moved it to March and included the first 2 months of February is because last year we did it as a highlight of 2023.
Yep.
But we decided it's just better for us on our branding because most of the years it was during this time, right when we're finishing 1 year and going into the next year.
That's right.
Is when we would do it. Mm-hmm. So we decided to move it back over here. So we had to include, so we had to go, instead of 12 months, we had to go through 14 months of games.
Yep. Yeah, and even I, like you and I were texting this morning, I was like, man, why can't we just stick to, not that it ended up mattering. I had only a list of 31 that I was like, okay, that one counts, that one counts, that one counts. Yeah. And
then you just eliminated one right now.
And I just eliminated one because I realized it was actually I played it 2022. But we were looking through it and I was like, man, dude, like why do we have to extend it to this? So who knows, next year when we do this episode, I might even extend it all the way through 2024. But currently right now, spoilers, a little bit on my list. None of these were new to me as of this year.
One was on my list, and it's just because I really did enjoy it. It just literally played it, and I'm like, now I have to go pick it up myself. That's how much I enjoyed this game. Yep.
And I also did put in here which days that was the first time I played them.
I did not do that, and I'm not going to do that because I don't want to. I don't want to go through those stats again.
Yeah. So those dates that are very specifically just the first time that I had played them. I just thought that would be an interesting little statistic.
At the end of the podcast, I'm going to talk about some of my honorable mentions, basically the ones that were just outside. And I'm not going to talk about. I had 60 games on my list over here.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm only going to talk about a few highlights, but I want to mention like this just kind of slipped out. I'm also going to mention one game that I purposely did not add to this list, and I'll explain why when we get to the start of the podcast. However, I want to say this. What have you been playing lately?
Oh, well, let me tell you what I've been playing lately. Woo! I'm not used to you asking me, sir. One of the games that I've been playing recently, which I might have another game on this list from the same publisher, but this is a cool little drafting and writing board game that I played recently. It's called Draft and Write Records.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this the Inside Up one?
It is Inside Up.
God, I want to play this one so much.
It's pretty nifty. There's one part that you would hate, absolutely hate about it. Yes, there was 60 crate. There's one part that you would absolutely hate about it, in that they include colored pencils. And to their well, like, because you have to color code little tiny little white dots as certain colors. There's yellow, there is red, there is a light purple, like a lavender, God. And there is a dark blue. Okay, so they were trying to get that.
That's fine. I can handle that.
No, that's the outside of the pencil. Colored pencils are notoriously light. That's the only problem. But no, anyway, this game is really cool. You're managing a record company, and you're basically signing on a band that could be up to, like the total crew could be like 13 or 12 people or something. You're getting different parts. You're getting, like, the lead singer, like the main highlight of the person. You're trying to get, like, all the backup musicians, the backstage people, all this. You're sending them on tours, traveling on from, I think it starts in your garage, and you're going all the way to, like, Sydney Opera House, like, something crazy like that. And then you're also trying to get, like, assets of, like, different recording equipment, different record deals, releasing singles and records at the same time, and also at the same time just adding in all kinds of productions. While avoiding the notorious scandals that you don't want in the game. One of my friends, when we first played this, actually was going for the scandals because it was hilarious. One of the funniest parts about this whole game is that if you get, I think you can have up to 6 scandals, and that's an endgame trigger.
Okay.
And as you get they're not actually called scandals. Like, the cards are called scandals, but, like, they're called, like, I think fails, because if you have to draft a card and you can't do one of them, then you can take a fail instead. And it's funny because he was actively looking for it, because if you get 6 of them, it is negative 25 points at the end of the round, which is huge.
Yeah.
But any further you get from there, I mean, at that point, you're tarnished. You know? Like, there's no helping your credibility. And the second fail that you get some press coverage, so you get a little bit of money, so you can unlock one of the money spots, which is pretty darn funny.
That sounds cool.
That's a cool little subtle thing that I really like. This does a lot of things like Gone Sean Clever does, where you get one spot which will unlock something, which will let you do something else, which will potentially, like, bounce around the board.
Okay, yeah.
Works really well. I like the art, I like the theming, and this has one of the weirdest component, like, features I've ever seen. Most cards have, like, a linen finish where it looks like there's, like, dots or lines or plaid or whatever on it. Right? This one has a bunch of concentric circles to look like a vinyl record as they're like embossing on all of the covers, all of the cards.
That's kind of cool.
It's wild. Like,
and you know, I collect me some vinyls. So.
I know you like some vinyls. Like, I will bring you the box and you'll just, like, caress it a little bit. You're like, oh, that's nice. And it feels pretty spot on. It was almost to the point where we were considering, like, I wonder if this would actually play something on a record, but it wouldn't.
Yeah.
There's no way. But it's just all of the cards have that same finish. It's crazy. Anyway, Draft and Write Records. That's what I've been playing.
Okay. I do want to play this one a lot. I do want to try it. Inside Up, they've had some hits. They've had some misses for me as well. Like, I love one of the games we'll probably talk about later.
Probably.
But what was it? Gorus Maximus. I love trick-taking games, and this one, I think you need to play that one with more people.
Sure.
And there's very rare times I'm going to play with 4 or more people.
Yeah.
4 is usually a good spot for me when it comes to trick-taking games. This one, that one basically plays up to 8. And at 4, it just, which I think is the minimum for that game, it just didn't sing. So it's like, I want to see how this one works, because I love one of those games. And there's been others that I've really enjoyed.
Yeah.
But the first game I'm going to talk about is a game that I've talked about before. This year I have a goal personally for me to complete this campaign in a sense, and this is a solo campaign for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to restart it, and I just finished the first part of this campaign, getting ready to go into the second part of it, and that is Arkham Horror LCG. I really do enjoy it.
It's been a while since you played this.
been quite a bit. I started it up again because I bought the new core set. This way I can get everything in just the big box.
Yeah.
And then I have the Path of Carcosa. I'm just getting ready to start the Dunwich cycle. And honestly, I have most of the stuff for the Dunwich cycle, but I'm like, I want to play the whole way through.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead. I found a deal on it. I just bought it, the whole cycle big box. Plus, as much stuff as they give you in this game, I wanted to get another big box just in case.
Gotcha.
And so I have it. I'm going to start that up here soon. But yeah, no, I was really enjoying it. It is such a very fun system to the point where I have this one, I have Marvel's Champions, and I have the Lord of the Rings LCG. I'm probably not going to keep my Lord of the Rings LCG because I just don't like how it plays compared to this one and or to this one in Marvel Champions. These ones just run a much smoother system than the Lord of the Rings one, which is weird because they just reprised it, revisited it, and refined the core mechanisms on it, and it's still so convoluted. But Arkham Horror LCG, if you get a chance, especially now that they have the restart pack, or not the restart packs, but they're not doing it by individual packs to try to keep up with the Mythos packs.
Yeah.
You basically get the base game if you buy the big box, and then every cycle afterwards, you get 2 basically expansions for them. You get the campaign style, so you can just use all the characters from the first game into the new system.
Okay.
Or you can also get the character packs, which are pre-built decks that you can use with the Carcosa, or you can use those characters in the original pack, however you want to do it. And I've liked how they went to that cycle. They're a bit pricier now, because usually you can buy a pack for $10, $15. This one it's like $30 to $40 for the characters, and about $50 to $60 for the campaign pack. But the campaign pack gives you everything instead of originally how they did it. You would buy the campaign pack, it would give you like the first 2 scenarios, and then you would have to buy the last 4 scenarios individually, and they're about $20 a pop, so it's actually cheaper.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, $20 a pop isn't that bad at all, but
yeah,
still.
but you get only the first the first 2 in the original pack, which was about $50, $40 to $50, and then each individual Mythos pack to finish off that cycle was $20 a pack, so that came out to basically $100 when you get the whole system at $60, and then you get the character packs. For the $100, you get the characters in the Mythos pack. Individually, when you were doing like the chase for the LCG, you were spending close to $200 to finish a cycle because you had to get all the investigators, because only a few of them came in the box, and you had to buy those individually, and then you had to buy the cycle individually. I love the new system how they're doing it.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing that I do appreciate from Fantasy Flight games is that with a lot of these systems that are similar in concept, they always add at least a little bit of change to the systems between them. Even if they're revamping it, even if one system is technically better than others, they still kind of keep true to like what they're trying to do. They're making it their own unique in that they're not cross compatible.
Yeah, I do like it. The Marvel Champions is a lot closer to Arkham Horror LCG than those 2 to the Lord of the Rings one. Yeah. And I've never played the Game of Thrones, so I can't give you an honest opinion on that one. So, but yeah, the Marvel Champions, because the way they work is the bad things happen, then the good things happen, or you get to do your actions. The difference between Marvel Champions and Arkham Horror is you'll do your stuff, then the bad guy will do their stuff, and then you go to the cleanup and you'll start the next round if you survived.
That makes sense.
In Arkham Horror, you skip the first phase on your first turn. Yeah, you'll do the investigators. Then you'll do, if there's monsters on the board, they will attack. They'll do their stuff. Then you go into the cleanup phase. Then at the next round, you start in the Mythos phase, and that's when cards are coming off the top. That's how they're going to seed the monsters and stuff like that. Or events can happen. So that's how it works. So you do the Mythos, then you do the action, the player actions. Then you have I think it's called the monster phase, where they will activate if they're hunting, or they're going to attack, or if they're engaged with you, they're going to do damage, that sort of stuff. So I do like these systems a lot.
Very cool. Awesome. Next one I've been playing was a game that you got the chance to play as well. We played it very recently, and this was probably the highlight of the night.
It was from the last game night. Yeah, it was the highlight of the night.
This is my pick, and I knew you were gonna like it already. It had a lot more heavy of strategy than I was expecting,
especially for that theme.
Yeah, so this is a game called Three Ring Circus. So this is circus themed game. You are each making your own caravan of circus performers, building up your thing while Barnum and Bailey is going around the country as they make their circuit around the board. Once he returns back to the very first region, then the game is over, and whoever's amassed the most points throughout collecting, the best animals, the best performers,
just putting on the best shows,
putting on the best shows. Generally speaking, will be the victor.
Yeah.
Now, one of the cool things about this is that each of the regions has 3 different types of towns that you can go to. You have small towns, which are all about money. You can have medium-sized towns, which are either money or more tickets to get more performers.
The tickets are your performer cards.
Yep. And then finally, the last one is large cities, which is all about racking up victory points.
Yeah.
And there's other ways to do it. A lot of the stuff that you get, like more performers, will unlock other stuff, but it might also hinder you in certain ways. Some of the big cities require you have like certain kinds of performers, like you might need like a big animal. But if you also have like an acrobat to the left of them on the row, or like another big animal to the right of them, or something like you can get some bonus points from there.
Yeah.
The art on it, fantastic.
Oh yeah. Devere knocked it out of the park with this one. My only gripe was the player color. It was the yellow player color, because you really couldn't tell the difference between the yellow and the white, because they went with a really pale yellow.
Yeah.
And so we were looking top down. I'm like, wait, where's the yellow? Okay, there it is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was a little tight. But I mean, my only gripe with it is I get why they do it, but I've never liked it where they have big old giant puzzle pieces that you just cover up parts of the board.
Yeah, that was a big issue. Yeah,
it's not a big. Well, it wasn't an issue. It's just it's weird. I feel like there's a better solution.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a bit of an issue because it just made the board look clunky.
It did,
because you're basically just covering a third of the board,
right?
And so you have like this whole circuit here, and then you got this big giant piece that just took off the rest of America. Right. There, we can't go that way.
Yeah. I almost thought that those pieces were like not supposed to be part of the game. When I was like, wait a minute, what is this? Like, it wasn't until I read the rules later I was like, oh wait, that's how that works.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that one. Just aesthetically, it wasn't very pleasing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big of an issue. There has to be an easier way to do it.
Sure.
You know what you could do, in all honesty?
Sharpie.
Make it a double-sided board. Put a 2-player side, 3-player side, and a 4-player side.
Yep.
I know it's a little not as cost effective because you got to print both sides of the board, but hey, a lot of games do it. And
they printed out a lot of extra punch board for this.
And so it's not that hard. I did like this game a lot. I'm a sucker for multi-use cards, and that's what I liked about this one, because your money is also your like cheaper performance. So you're like trained dogs and seals or clowns, magicians, stuff like that. Your sideshow type stuff. And then you have your tickets, which are your performers themselves, and they all do their own thing. And what I liked about them, when you're putting them on the line, you could do like, oh, this is going to give me more circus or stages, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then I also liked about the fact that when you covered something up, you lose that ability. So like for movement, if you covered up a train, now you can only move 3 spots instead of 4 because a lot of your trains are covered up. I like this game a lot. I don't know if I would ever own it, just for the simple fact I don't think it would go down well with my other group.
I don't think it would either. And I'm questioning whether it would go well for my other group. I know it works well for our group.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who got it anyway, thanks to you. It was a Christmas gift.
Yeah, what it is, like Secret Santa.
Yeah, Secret Santa. It was good fun. But I liked it a lot. Devere, this is probably one of my favorite Devere games, honestly.
Yeah, it's up there with not White Castle, Red Cathedral for me.
Yes.
I do like Red Cathedral a lot.
I agree. All right, and that was 3-Ring Circus.
All right, so my next game, I've talked about it before, but I want to talk about it again because I played it at a 4-player play of it. I finally showed this to the wife. It was a Christmas gift that she got for me. So you played it, you liked it. It's a Reiner Knizia game.
Ooh.
From Trick or Treat Studios. We had a game night this past week where she wanted to play like spooky games and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'll bring this one.
In the Halloween spirit, huh?
Yeah, she just wanted to do, because there was another game that I will be talking about later that we wanted to get played, and so. But we played this one first. It was the first game of the night. I'm like, let me just show you this. And she enjoyed it. She's like, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Because she's not a big fan of bidding game either. Yeah. But I've learned that we like the closed economy system, because then we can kind of math where everything is. And so as we were playing it, and then one of our big things on Top 8 Debates is Table Talk. And this one
Yep.
was really big on that table talk because people were
those
getting
memorable moments.
Yeah, people were getting cussed out because she was getting mad at me because we both needed something to finish off a film. And I needed it because I needed to finish off the film because I knew it was going to give me a lot of points because I had it completely filled out except for I needed that 3-star director that was there.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, I'll bid $6 million. I'm like, I'm going to go $10 million. I just went straight up and went $10 million. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, you don't even need all those stuff. I'm like, I need that director. I flat out told her, I need that director. So it's the only director on the board. So I need that one specifically. Because I don't know what's in the the horror con over here. I need that one. And so, yeah, we were going back and forth. She's like, okay, fine, $12 million. And I had a bunch of money at this point because I had stopped because I've been waiting for this director. Most of my other films are done. This is towards the end of the round. And so I finally decided, you know what? No, okay, you're going to go $12 million? I'm going to go $16 million. And she's like, and it was just her and me in that bid. She's like, pass. And our friends are just sitting across the table like, oh, God. She was so mad. I went broke. That was literally all my money. But I just needed for that film because then I was done. I knew I was going to get the highest film. Ended up getting a 17-pointer off that one film.
Yep.
I couldn't draw up another film, so I knew I was just going to kind of run up the bids. This way I could start getting money for I could start scoring points as well. Ended up winning the game by like 12 points.
That would be... I just realized that would be such a messed up move to go, you know what? I absolutely need that director. Fine. $12 million right off the bat. They're like, oh, well, 14. You can have it. It's like, I don't need it that bad. It's just like throw it right back at them. They're like, wait, I didn't even want that. You said you need it. Not that bad.
Yeah, well, no, I knew what it needed because I was watching the board. Because one film I just completed gave me a 20-point swing by doing it because it would give me the best casting and it gave me the worst film. Well, not this one specifically, but another film I got.
Yeah.
Because it was tied for like 3 other films that were created.
Yeah.
But because of the way ties work, I hit a 7. I had to keep going down until I found a token. So it gave me a 5 token instead, which gave me the worst film. That's 10 points. And then the film that I finished was the best casting because I had a 3-star special guest. It had 2 monsters on it, so they were 3 stars each.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I needed this because I had the best casting here. So yeah, we had a good time playing it. It went down really well. Nightmare Productions by Trick or Treat Studios and Reiner Knizia. The Dr. Reiner Knizia.
Dr. Reiner Knizia. Doctor. All right. So, this game I wanted to talk about was a game that... it was another game from that same game night that you and I played at... Sorry, he has to deal with the dog real quick. The same game night that you and I played. This game was sheer havoc, panic, absurd. And when we played it, like, you guys had fun. And I was like, I know you guys enjoyed it, but... But... I was like, I wonder how this is going to go with my other game group. So that following, a couple days later, I played it with my other game group. And it was a riot. I knew it was going to go down. This is a game called Asteroids. This came out probably about 15 years ago. And that's Asteroids with a Y.
Instead of an I.
Instead of an I near the end. Yeah, it was a bit of chaos. Yeah. And the way it works is really simple. You're in an asteroid field, and you're trying to race to get to 4 different gates. Once you get to a certain gate, then you take the token that's on it. Once you have gotten all 4, you win. It's basically a race game. And it plays over a series of rounds where you roll 3 big chunky dice. One's red, one's white, one's blue. And that's generally speaking how the asteroids are going to move. Then, after you roll the dice, everyone pauses for a second, and then you start a timer. And that's how you program all 6 of your steps, possibly a 7th if you want to. And the way it works is very simple. On your turn, those dices or those asteroids that are all over the field, and the gates even, all have the numbers 1 through 6 around their border. Meaning if I roll a 3 on the red die, that means every red asteroid is going to move in the direction towards their 3.
Not only that, there's also asteroids that move on 2 colors. So some of the reds
some are
will
white
move on the
and
white.
red, and some are white and blue. And not only that, reds move 2 spaces.
And whites bump other blues bump other asteroids.
Blues can push other asteroids. So trying to remember all of that within... we played beginner mode. It said 50 seconds for a beginner, and expert is 20 seconds. So we decided 50 seconds, and that was way too fast.
Yeah, we were like, oh good. Especially like the first 2 rounds. How many you got eliminated like after what, 3
Like
rounds?
3 turns. Yeah. It was really bad. I like ran into an asteroid
because you're
like 5
trying
times.
to pay attention to where the asteroid is going by looking at the numbers. Okay, where's this going? Okay, now I got to do this. Where the hell am I going? And then you have to pay attention to how your ship is setting because you have to move it around to the point where I had to move my player aid to the way the ship is pointed. This way I could remember how to where I needed to move. Okay, this is going this way. This is going this way. Because at one point my ship was pointing at 6 o'clock and we needed to move forward. But that's 12 o'clock, so I'm like, oh, wait, no, let me do it this way. Okay, now I'm going to move this way. Oh, man, it was chaos. Oh, my God.
It really was. It was so fun. And the funny thing is, like, we all played the same argument that you had about, like, how the arrows were, the symbology. Mm-hmm. One of our mutual friends also had the same argument. He was like, this is not helpful. This is really bad iconography. He was like, but... if this was just fixed, like where, either clockwise, counterclockwise, or has the circle. Because the way it works, it has a hex, or your ship, and then it has like an arrow to one side, and then an arrow pointing up.
Yeah.
But if it was like a circle, like either turn right, turn left, like in almost like a refresh symbol, that would make a lot more sense. But other than that, you have 6 different character abilities. You pick one at random.
You didn't know, like, the way that symbol worked, it says you needed to go here, and then you move forward. It doesn't tell you that. I just thought it was like, you need to turn there, and then your next move has to move forward. Right. No, it's like, this turns here, then moves you forward. I'm like, if it gave me the turn, and then the arrow, it would say, okay, I turn this in and move forward.
Right, exactly. No, and so the way, like, once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. We all mutually died in ours.
I did the best. I did the best.
You did the least bad.
hey, I'm the only one that hit 2 gates.
That's true. Me and our mutual friend... No, you got farther along. Because he got 2 gates as well. Didn't he?
No. He almost got to the second gate when an asteroid crashed into him.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, and then one of the funniest things that I love is that there's 6 different tracks that you program your little tiddlywinks to, like... hover over. But you have a 7th track that has a shield, which reduces all damage to you every time you get hit by 1. You are allowed to deactivate the shield to take another movement. That's totally fine.
Fine, yeah.
If you're that confident, go ahead. And man, did that ruin us on some points where we just accidentally moved it. So my group, we played it with 4, and so it's a little more tight on the board. Only one of us got eliminated. I ended up winning legitimately by getting all 4 gates. It worked really well. We were worried about one person, and she got eliminated like on the maybe like 2 asteroids lengths away from the final gate. It was brutal because of just one little spin. It can all go crashing down, and she ended up just running into the sidewall like 5 times. It's and it died. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, if an asteroid hits you, it gives you 2 damage or 1 damage? 1 damage.
So if an asteroid hits you, it's 1 damage. If you crash into asteroid, anything else...
it's 2 damage.
Yes.
And if you lose your shield, you take all 2 of those damage.
Right. If you choose to deactivate your shield, it's 2 damage for every time you run into something. It's brutal. But man, was it fun, though. Like, it was just... like, it didn't have to be good. And I'm not going to claim this was a good game. It's not a good game.
You don't have
It's a fun game.
You don't have to be the greatest game in the world.
Right.
And it'll still make... like, there's a game on my favorite games list here that is not a good game. It's just pure and simple fun. Yes,
exactly. And I think... because this plays up to 6. I think this would work just as good at 6. Than it did in anybody else. Because this was just silly.
Yeah, it was. I'm good with silly fun. One of our favorite games that we've played, I don't know how long ago it was, but it was an old reprint that you could buy in Target. Like, what is it, Forbidden Bridge or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Where it's just like a roll and move, and then the bridge could shake and you fall off. That's a fun game. It's not a great game.
No. It's an awful game.
If you're laughing the whole time, it's gonna score high for me because it's just it's more of the how I feel. Like, there's some games that are great, and it makes my brain hurt, and I like to think about it, and it's really good for my mental stimulation. And then sometimes, I just want to have fun.
Yeah. And this is one of those, you just have fun.
Yeah.
So I could recommend this. I mean, like, I bought it for $20.
Yeah, no, it wasn't too bad at all.
That's great for a 6-player game. If you ever find it used somewhere, buy it. It's really cool.
Yeah, check it out. This is prime for a restoration reprint.
Yes.
Because it is that fun.
Ooh, we should go tell them.
Yeah.
Like, that was good. But I mean, it's still, I mean, it's not like it's an old game, though. That's the thing.
Well, they don't necessarily bring all the old games back.
No.
They do some other stuff, and it's been out
Yeah.
out of print for about 10 years or so.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, exactly. Pull out chess, yeah. Sometimes you just want to have simple fun. Like, I mean, I own more kids' games than I do kids.
You don't
true.
own
I have
kids.
2 kids.
You don't own
No,
kids.
I don't own kids. I have 2 kids.
Technically, they own you as much
That's
money you
true.
spend on them.
Ooh. Yeah, no, but I own a lot of children's games because some of them are just genuinely hilarious.
But let's
Like,
hope that you're a teacher too, for an elementary school teacher.
Yeah.
You teach games at a board game shop,
Yeah.
so it's good for you to have it.
and in
Plus,
fact-
they're just fun.
Speaking of that, like I had made like my own little like coding game a while back, and I made like 10 copies of it. And today, one of our teachers locked her classroom, and so when we were coming in to go get our computers, we couldn't do it. So I'm like, all right, guys, let's just go in. And then so we talked about our lesson, and we're like, hey, here's what we're gonna do. Anyway, here's some games, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's how you play. Have fun. Simple little press your luck game, you know.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
All right, so the next game I'm going to talk about, my third game, and Asteroids, it was a fun game. I like it. I don't rate it high. I honestly gave it a rating of a 6.
Yeah.
But that's fine. If it's fun, it could get a higher rating. It's
Sure.
just, when I go through my technical aspects of a game, I'll rate it a 6.
Yeah. You should see it at a higher player count. Like a 6
It was
is wild.
shenanigans at 3. So.
Yeah.
All right, so my next game that I am going to talk about is a game I really do enjoy. There's 3 versions of this now, and this is my least favorite of the version, but we wanted to get to the table to see how we feel and how it stacks up to the other 2 versions of this.
I think I know where this is going.
And this is Horrified American Monsters.
Yep.
And honestly, we had a great time with this one.
Yeah?
It reminds us why we love the Horrified system a
Yeah.
lot. This is still my least favorite of the 3. But
Sure.
I think we had a great combination of monsters this time around because we had the Ozark Howler, which is a little bit of a harder one. We had the Mothman out there, so and then we had the Chupacabra out there. And these were just randomized picked. And Chupacabra is like one of the easiest ones out there. You have to go find all the goats and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that one annoyed us more than anything because the first step of the Chupacabra, you have to find 6 brown goats. They have to be seated on the board. You have to pick them up and then go take them to the farm. Well, the problem with that is, the way the Mothman works is that you have to seed 4 tokens on its player board, and they have to be of different locations because you got to place traps out there.
Okay.
2 of those 4 were goats. And so we're like, we need to go seed these tokens because they get to go in the bag.
Yeah.
So we gotta, set the traps, and when we set the traps, the tokens could go in the bag, which means we have a better chance of pulling goats. No, it took us forever. We needed 2 goats, but we couldn't get them seated on the board. Once we got those final 2 goats on the board and got them seated and put them on the thing, that's when we started pulling all the freaking goats out of the bag. After those 2 came on the board, we pulled like 5 or 6 more after that because we had to dump the bag back in. So it was just all goats now. We were so annoyed with that, but we came so close. It literally was on the last turn because you needed to defeat the final monster to win the game.
Yep.
But if you don't have a card to pull at the end of your turn, you lose the game.
Oh, don't tell me that's how you lost. You
So-
ran out of time.
Well, the thing is like, if it would have ended on my turn, I had the tokens to go beat the Ozark Howler. We finally finished the last part of it.
Yep.
On my wife's turn, she would have pulled the last card. So I needed to go there and fight him and defeat him.
Yep.
We had it all set up. But we needed her to do 2 actions. She needed to flip up the trail token, and she needed to spin the tokens for it. She had a bunch of tokens. The problem that happened with this one is that most of the tokens that we used were basically 2 colors. So you need a yellow and an orange. So she had a good multitude of colors. This one you needed to have 5 plus yellow. She had a 2 yellow. She didn't even have yellow. She's like, okay, we're fine. She could go to the next place over and pick up that token and come back, and that was what her plan was once she found out what it is. If she needed yellow, she can go pick up that one. She did need yellow. It was a 5 yellow. You know what that token was at that location?
Not a 5 yellow.
It was a 4 yellow.
It's even worse.
And the thing is, I didn't have enough movements, even if we moved it over there, to go get I had the token to go defeat that. The only problem is if I spent that token, I couldn't pick up the 4 token and go back to where the Ozark Howler is to win the game. So there was no mathematical way for us to win the game at that point in time.
Interesting.
So it was literally on the last pull when she's like, and so we did the math. It was like, boom, boom, boom. If you do this, we had a card where they can move me 4 to get that, for I could do that and go pick up that and then go do this. And there's like, if I had the character that could give me 5 actions, or if I had the card that could give me 2 additional actions, my wife was playing the character that could do the 5 actions, so I couldn't get that character. And if I could have gotten the card with the 2 actions, then yes, I could have done it. I could have beaten him by picking up that token and then getting in the space with him and beating him.
Yeah.
Other than that, there was no mathematical way, because when my turn would end, I would have to pull a card, and there was no card to pull. So, we did enjoy it. We liked it a lot. I think we gave it a lot of grief because the other 2 were just superior to this one.
Yes.
But I did like this one. I still have an issue with the printing process because I have things that still say police station instead of sheriff station.
Yeah.
And so and then you also have the ranger station. So when we see police station, I just told them put it in the ranger station or the police station, because the ranger station's a different kind of thing where sheriff were technically the police. But yeah, there was an issue with that. I still liked it though. I think it was a fun game.
Cool. And the last one I wanted to talk about today is a game that I had been very excited about. Finally saw it in stock at Barnes & Noble, so I picked it up a copy and got it played, I think, that day or the next day. It was really, very quick. Very simple game from Buffalo Games. Buffalo Games. And their productions have been really fantastic lately. I like what they do because they work a lot with like Game Right, and they're along the same lines. Like I think they're co-owned by Seiko.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're owned by Seiko, the company. But both Game Right Games, which has always made great productions, and now Buffalo Games, which is mainly their puzzles. Now they're getting into board games and more serious games. They used to do like more like party games and stuff. Now they're more serious games like family weight strategy games. They've done some with like Phil Walker Harding. Anyway, this recent one had nothing to do with any of that. It's a set collection kind of game called Penny Black.
Oh man, they had one there?
Yes, I've already played it.
How is it?
So, I wanted to talk about it.
Uh-oh.
This is different than a lot of the other games. First off, the component quality. This is a $30 game. Okay, now keep that in mind. This is some of the neatest component quality I've seen in a long time.
It looks really good.
They are every stamp, which there's probably about 100 something of them, is a plastic tile that is full colored printed on it.
Nice.
Okay? Very nice. It's not quite Bakelite, but it's very, very nice quality plastic. The boards everybody plays with folds open. It is a stamp book, and it looks like a stamp book. And it has a recessed board, so the tiles fit in them, and they stay fit perfectly. Then
I hate you because I was gonna go to Game Vault on Thursday. I may have to stop at a Barnes over on the way over there and pick that game up too.
You might have a chance to get a Gamma. We'll see.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. I would
know.
wait.
No, Buffalo Game is there.
They are there.
No,
Yes.
remember Gamma Expo.
The Gamma Expo. Sorry, the Gamma Expo. Anyway, but Penny Black, this does something though that's different than a lot of games that I've seen, and this is. It at first glance it seems like a set collection game.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a open drafting where you have a number of boards depending on the number of players. You reach in, you pull out 3 tiles at random. They're worth anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 cents each for the stamps, except for the Penny Black that is technically on its own. But each of those number values has a color to it, which first off, great idea. They can either be square stamps, they could be tall stamps, or they could be wide stamps. Okay. So whether it's 2x2, 2x3, or 3x2. And all of those are supposed to fit within your area somehow with how you're going. You're going to get a couple of objective cards, 3 of each color, and you're going to choose 2 of each color, 1 for each half of your board. So I have 2 cards for the left page, 2 cards for the right page. Those are my only goal objectives. Other than the Penny Blacks, that is the only way you score points. It is not, you're going to get your groupings and then you're going to do this. No, it's not.
You just score the gold cards plus the Penny Black.
Yes. So the way it works is simple. Penny Blacks, they will look at whichever color is touching theirs.
Okay.
And the one that is the most common, let's say I have 4 stamps of the same color touching it, each of those are worth 2 points.
Okay.
Done. 8 points. Done.
Yeah.
Each of your penny blacks score that way. And then there are 2 cards. Like, I had one card where it was like, you get 3 points for every full side of your collection that's filled in. Because they don't always fit in well. In fact, quite the opposite. They're very difficult to fit in. One was like, for every 2 sets of tall tiles, you get 4 points. So they're okay, so I'm going to get a whole heap of tall tiles. Mm-hmm. And just all sorts of combinations. And there's kind of weird ones, too. This worked really well. Very well on how well it worked. Because pick a tile, you get all the stamps that are on it, jump it on your board. It goes in turn order. Very simple. I couldn't have encouraged this one enough. The components are brilliant. I think you're going to like the mess out of it. It feels like a Phil Walker Harding game. It genuinely does. Even though I know it's not designed.
Yeah. Buffalo Games is just like really going for like those simple style games and stuff like that. So I do like that one. I do want to try that one a lot.
Awesome.
All right, so the last game I'm going to talk about here is a game that I've really enjoyed. It's a campaign style game that we've been wanting to play, and my wife wanted to actually get this back to the table. So it was her suggestion to, let's just do like a theme of like spooky games. So we played like Similo, Nightmare Production. We played Horrified. Little Devils was another game that we played during that part, because this is the game that we really wanted to play, and this one is Vagrant Song. We restarted the campaign, like I said, I did with Arkham Horror LCG, because it was 2 years or so, like a year and a half the last time we played it, so we didn't remember everything. Now we have it individually bagged what's going to keep going as we go through the series of campaigns. Oh my god, this was like the best game I've ever done when it comes to dice rolling, because I play a specific character. They have a thing called booming boxcars. So whenever your dice hits a 6, you get to re-roll it, and if it hits another 6, you get to keep re-rolling it as you go. In my character, if I roll a 6 for the first time on a check, I get to roll 2 dice instead of that die over again and keep checking. And so my powers allow me to, like, if I get 3 or more successes on a turn, I can specifically do something. I get to do either, like, an extra damage to the haint, which is what the characters or the bad guys are called in this one, or basically give them more humanity, or I can heal someone to a certain point. So, like, for every success, someone within range of 2 or 3 of you can heal 3 as well, or as many successes that you had. So if I roll 4 successes, and my wife is about 2 spaces away from me, she could heal 4 humanity while I'm still doing 4 damage to the haint. So I was hitting that power every time, and I'm like, guys, don't get used to this, because this is the best game you're ever going to see me roll when it comes to dice, because I was hitting 6s left and right, and it was ridiculous. And I'm like, this is never going to happen again. But yeah, no, we had a great time with it. I really stand on this. More games need to do acrylic minis. Or standees, because
I agree.
These are gorgeous. They're a bit cheaper than big chunky plastic minis. You don't have to worry about, they're not painted. And so, like me, I like painted minis, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to take up the time to paint them, so all my minis are gray.
Yep.
But these acrylic standees, the color pops, they do really well. But man, this was such a good game. We were laughing. We had a good time. We got it done. It took us a little while to figure out how to play it again, because it's just everything that's going on. There's a lot of little nuances to the rules. I still prefer I like the hobo code if it's the worst case scenario, and then you're doing that one if you can't come to an agreement. So I do enjoy this one a lot. Happy to get back into this campaign. We're planning to play it about 2 or... I want to play it about 10 times. This is one of those games also on my logo or thing. I'm also getting the expansion. That's another reason why we wanted to get it done again. So, so this is what we're looking forward to doing and playing. So we'll see. I really want to get it back to the table relatively soon, because I want to go through the story. I really do like how they tell these stories.
So that was some of the games that we have been playing lately. Now let's get into today's topic. We're going to be talking about the best new games to us over the past year and a couple of months. We are starting this time frame from January 1st, 2023, all the way through today, which currently we are filming on February 26th.
Which makes sense.
Of 2024.
The next game night is going to be the 28th, and it would be hard for us to record before then. Yes, you're going to hear this probably, what is it, the middle of March? Yeah.
Give or take.
3/11 is when it's going to go live. We're just kind of recording in advance because of this will air right when we get back from Gamma.
That's right. So we're going to be talking about the 8 games that are the best for this year. Were there any that stood out to you before we get into this list?
Oh yeah, there's quite a few that stood out to me. Like one that I just recently played in 2024 made it into the top 8 just because of how much fun I had playing it. Another one that I'm not surprised it made this list, but I am also because it's been out for a while and I liked its predecessor. So the fact that I have 2 games by the same designer on here.
So I have 3 games by the same designer.
And then I have 1 game I never thought this designer would make in my list. So, well,
that's very kind of you to put in my list. Put me in there. Look at you. That game isn't even out yet.
No, that's why it's not on my list. And I played it way before 2023.
Yeah, so. That's true. How kind of you. Anyway, yeah. So, a couple quick statistics on mine. 5 of mine are cooperative. 5 of my 8 are cooperative. And 3 are from the same designer. Not necessarily of the cooperative, but 3 total are from the same designer.
I have 1 co-op on here.
Yep, that goes to show the differences in our taste, huh? All right.
Oh, no, I had a bunch of co-ops on my short list over here, but yeah, it's just that's the one that came on. A lot of them got bumped off just slightly because I did like them a lot, but yeah, no. Yeah, only 1 co-op for once. Usually I'm the one that has a bunch of the co-ops.
Usually, but this was my year for co-ops.
And my caveat I was going to say, mention, there's one game which is a co-op that I did not put on the list because I just think it's a variant to a game that I've played a lot of beforehand. I did not put Unmatched Tales to Amaze on my list here.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's a co-op version of a game that I've already really enjoyed, and it didn't add enough change for me.
Yeah.
And the same reason why I don't have horrified Greek monsters on here. It just changes a few things, and not enough for me to say it's completely different than what it originally went for.
Sure. That makes sense. All right. Let's get into our number 8. Here we go. I'm going to flip the coin of doom. Let's find out. You'll be starting us.
Is that tails?
That's tails. That's heads.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right.
I have my giant Baton Memorial Death March coin right here, 25th anniversary.
And so the first game I'm going to put on the list is the one that surprised me and snuck in here as my number 8. It was the one I recently played. Only about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We played it actually, I think, either the end of January or early February. Mm-hmm. This was when it was Gamehead Geek's pick. This was Thunder Road Vendetta.
Wow, already.
I really enjoyed it. And this is what we were talking about when we were talking about Asteroids. This was just, it's not a great game. It's not the best game in the world. You're beholden to a lot of dice rolls and stuff like that. But this was pure and simple fun.
Oh, yeah.
We were having laughs and shenanigans, and we were trying to kill our friend Dammit Dom with our helicopters, and they couldn't hit anything. 2 helicopters were shooting at him in different intervals and could not hit him.
I'm pretty sure if both of them fell out of the sky onto his truck, he would have weaseled his way out of it.
Exactly.
Hands down.
So, yeah, no, it's like I like put here in my little note here. It's just plain fun. That's really what it is. It's a race game. You're trying to get to the finish line as fast as possible, but the finish line only shows up when someone is completely eliminated.
Yep.
And then what I really liked about it too is like you're going over here and we're like, I could just go around the side. No, I'm going to hit a crash and see what happens here because it can bounce you off depending on what the dice roll is. And it's just, or I could throw you into that wall there based on your dice roll. So it's like, it's so fun. I really did enjoy this one a lot. Restoration Games actually really knocked it out of the park. And I was very hesitant with this game originally because I was like, I did not like the last game that was kind of this stylish, where it's not like a really thinky or heavy game that reprint, which was Fireball Island.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was not
okay.
It was fine. Like for me,
Fine.
it was a 5. That's
Yeah.
how I'd rate it. And it's just because it was functional. It was an
Yep.
average game at best. I did not have fun playing it. I did enjoy it. In fact, I just thought it was like a paints by the number type of game.
Yeah.
Forbidden Bridge, I like more than Fireball Island.
And that was not a restoration.
No,
I
and that
think.
was not a
Yeah.
restoration. But this one, and so I was very hesitant. And that's another reason why I didn't get into crossbows and catapults, because I was very, very hesitant of that situation with the way those two played. I'm like, so I didn't get into this Kickstarter either. And this Kickstarter also was going along the same time another big Kickstarter was going. I want to say it was Frosthaven. I could be wrong, because it originally was in November. They stopped that one. They're like, we're going to come back in March and do that. So I was very hesitant. When we played this one, I was like, I was kicking myself because I didn't back it. That's how much I really did enjoy it.
That's FOMO. You know, how many great games do you have back here? I'm trying to
Oh,
reassure you.
No.
You have some amazing games back here, some great racing games, some shenanigan games.
I am lucky enough that it's coming back to Kickstarter, I think, in March. So I'll back it then.
Fair enough. All right, the first one I want to talk about, Horrified Greek Monsters. After you just shot it down all of a sudden. No, I mean...
That was personally for me.
Yeah, that was personally for you. I found out that the game that I originally had in the 8th place was not within that year, and that's fine because I thought it was, but mistakes are made. But nonetheless, now, if I did not include Horrified Greek Monster, because I do agree with you, it is very similar, but I feel it does enough difference, and it's more of a return to form,
Yeah.
that I could justify it. Because they're not compatible with each other.
No, they're not.
They don't change the system per
That's
se.
why we'll allow it during
Right.
like top 8 debates and stuff like that, because they do change enough, and they're not compatible, so they're their own.
If the monsters were just like new monsters that you could put in there, you know, and you could put it on the same board, I wouldn't have counted it either.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, had I eliminated it, my number 9 would have, or my number 8 would have been Planet Unknown. Which is how, that's to show you the bar that it's set on.
Yeah.
But Horrified Greek Monsters, for every reason you said about it earlier, I know you were talking about the American Cryptids, but Greek Monsters, the way it works, the little 4 little areas that you have to find out.
I do like that added.
That's a great addition. From what I understand, one of the original designers from the first Horrified came back and was kind of like talking about a little bit of it. And you could tell it was a return to form. The board was harder to get around in some spots. It was a little more asymmetric because the second one almost seemed like it was a grid. Like it was really easy to get anywhere from everywhere. And I didn't like that part of it. This seemed like it was clunkier. There was some parts that like spun off on the side.
Yeah.
And just the way the monsters work functionally, they're just super cool.
Oh, speaking of which, I have to tell you some news when we get off the podcast. But yeah, no, it was. I agree. I liked it a lot. I just put that personal rule on me because it just doesn't feel too different than the other two, other than
I agree.
The added stuff.
Yep. But Horrified Greek Monsters, that is my number 8 best game that was new to me since the beginning of 2023.
Yeah, Planet Unknown isn't on my list, but I thought I played it in 2022, but I'll have to look up the stat.
I know I played it later than everybody else. But
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's go on to our number 7. I'll be starting this off. So this is one of the few non-cooperative games that I have on my list. This is very much a versus game, but of course it's a Euro game. This one works like a game that I already really enjoyed, but what it did was very brilliant. I don't remember if it either won or was nominated for the Kenner Spiel des Jahres last year or the year before, one of those two. And it just barely came to the United States through, I think, Pegasus. This is Living Forest.
Oh, it did win the Kinderspiel last year.
It did, yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's a good game.
You've played it, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I own it. It's right behind you.
So you played it, right?
Yeah.
No, oh my gosh.
If it's not up there...
That was one of those ones where I taught you, I was like, look, dude, like, right, didn't I teach you?
Yeah, we played it at Empire in Albuquerque.
That's right, that's right. And I was like, you guys, you just gotta trust me on this. And I was like, let's play it. And oh my god, that was one of those like instant buys for both of us. Like,
oh yeah, no, well, it was an instant buy for me. I already owned it. We just hadn't played it
Right.
yet because I collect the Kinderspiels.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm only missing one now.
It was an instant buy.
It was an instant buy. Yeah, no.
No, I'm saying, oh my gosh, was that not? Yeah, it's not on his shelf of shame. That would be up yonder, up on this top part. His right behind me. But no, this game is brilliant. There's like multiple ways to win. There's multiple ways to get points. But you're trying to basically plant different types of trees. You're trying to get better cards in your deck so that way you could do these different artifacts. and you use basically 2 actions on your turn. It's simple, like, because as you're building up, getting more and more, more and more cards on your list.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you get, like, 2 spots that are really good in actions, like if I have a blue action and yellow action at the same time that are both really good, I only get 2 actions on my turn, and those might not be the ones I was aiming for. But if I bust and I get too many of the bad ones, I only get to take 1 of those 2 actions, which hurts even more. I like the system the way it works. It took an already really clean system with, like, Mystic Veil, for example, and took out the card crafting part of it and just made it a standard deck builder.
Yeah.
And not that Mystic Veil was complicated, but I already liked Mystic Veil. Yeah. And this just ramped it up again. Like, it was just so cool. Living Forest, I couldn't be more happy about it. That is why it's my number 7 game from last year.
It just got pushed out. It was my number 8 before Thunder Road Vendetta. It got pushed out by Thunder Road Vendetta. I like this game a lot.
I'm curious how much overlap we're going to have at this point.
I have one problem, though, with my physical copy. I'm missing 1 token. I don't know where it is, and it's an Asmodee game, so I'm not going to be able to get that specific token. No. It's just one of the trees. I'm like, I'm not even going to worry about it. I can figure out a way to refill it in or something like that. And in fact, I had something. I'm like, we'll just use this as a replacement. Just know for where it is on this. This is the number it's on.
Yep.
And so, but yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. This is the one that just got bumped out because that's how much I like Thunder Road Vendetta. Yep. And you're talking about Planet Unknown. Yeah, it's just how it just kind of slides stuff out.
Just barely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about our honorable mentions later, but man, just barely. It was a good year for games last year.
I'm thinking this might be on your list. I just don't know if you played this in 2023. I think you may have played it just beforehand because we saw this game and you got the Kickstarter version of this game when we were at Gamma in 2022. But the first time I played this game was January or February of 2023, and this is Trekking Through History. I like it. I call it like a little timeline game because you're basically trying to gather cards and put them in a proper timeline because you want to score based on your set. So if you go over 10, you get more points, but sometimes you cannot ever go back, and if the cards are not laying right, you could just close that track and start a new track and start a whole nother line to get you more points that way. I love that timeline aspect of it, plus the ratchet system, so I can go, I got to spend so much time when I buy it, and then I have to wait for my next turn, but this card really, really works for me because it's just so much closer than everything else that's on the table for me. So yeah, I'm going to have to lose 3 time to get this. And if you land exactly at midnight on the clock,
you get the efficiency bonus.
You get the efficiency bonus, and there's just a little nice little combos, a little historical stuff. And so like when I'm going through it, I like the fact that there's a little blurb on each of these things at the back.
Oh, yeah. And How dare you trick me to learn? How dare you, Underdog
Games?
My
thing is, I'm sitting there, and my wife is like, oh, what is this? And then I look over at the picture, and I see the name, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is about this and this and like that. She's like, you're such a nerd! Because I haven't even read the blurb. I just know what it is. Yeah. And she just looks at the back, and you're like, you're such a nerd. I'm like, I was a history major. I had to study these things. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I enjoy this game a lot. I love the mechanism of it. I love the blending of the two mechanisms where you're putting things in a timeline, as well as the ratchet effect. Like, I got to spend 3 time here. Plus the resource management where I can pay for certain things. Yep. And then you got the time crystals that will allow you to, make yours do a little more efficiency and stuff like that. Yeah, no, I really do enjoy this game a lot. It is such a fun game.
Yeah. So I will tell you, it is not on my list for that very reason. I played it the year prior.
Yeah, I didn't know when you played it. I was like,
if he
played this in 2023, it's going to be on his list.
Yes.
But I think he played it before because you got it.
I had to double check
because you did a Kickstarter.
Yes.
And so you got that stuff. I have the Kickstarter version of it. So.
Yep. No, I could not agree how it reminds me. I have a friend who works at our local shop.
Yeah.
And he was big into improv. And a lot of the things that they teach you in improv acting is yes and like no matter how ridiculous the premise, how absurd it is, go with it.
Yeah.
And normally in most games, like what Trekking Through History does, it's like, okay, I see the resource tokens. I see that there are symbols on the cards. I must spend these for said cards.
Yeah.
No. You get the card. That's part of your points. And
the
you
resource.
get tokens just for free. Like, you just get two good choices? Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't have to wait. I don't have to pay to get a choice.
And
Like,
what I like about it too
yeah,
is the card has the tokens, and depending on where the card is on the track, they can give you extra tokens.
Yes.
Because you're putting those tokens on your own little thing here, because that's going to give you bonus
Right.
points and stuff like that. I love every aspect of this.
Absolutely. This is a good example. Like, you remember when Canvas was like all the buzz,
Yeah.
right? This is what Canvas was trying to be, like in my opinion. But yeah, Trekking Through History, phenomenal game. On to our number 6s. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
The B. All right, so my number 6 here is probably outside Thunder Road Vendetta, my biggest surprise on this list, because I really do enjoy its predecessor. But I picked this up. We had a local gaming, tabletop day here. And I got this game out of a reward for the way the shop did it is like if you spend so much money, you can get one of these random games that they were just trying to get out of their library for they can bring new stuff in. And so you get a game out of it depending on what you're spending. So if you spent $30, you can get 3 $10 games, or you can get one $30 game that was marked as $30 game. And so you had a reward. And so I grabbed this one, and I'm like, okay, I do like its predecessor. I want to see how it plays. You sell this game all the time. You do enjoy this game, and it's my only co-op on this list, and it's a word association co-op game.
Oh, okay.
This is so Clover.
Yes.
My wife adores this game. In fact, it was on her favorite games list when we did that not too long ago.
Yes, it was.
It is such a fun little word association game because you have like these 4 cards in there in a Clover, and then when you place them on your Clover, they give you 2 letters on each of the 4 sections, or 2 words on the 4 sections, and you have to come up with a word that bridges those 2 things. And sometimes you're not really paying attention to what you're doing because you're like, oh, I'm going to use this word, and it's really going to work well for this, and then not paying attention to what's on the inside track of that card, and you're like, oh my god, what did I do? Oh my god, what did I do? And so what you do is you put your 4 words out there, you put your cards out there, and I think you're supposed to shuffle in, 2 other cards?
5th card.
Yeah, 5th card, yeah. And you shuffle them up, you put them out there for everybody to glow through, and they have to figure out what are the best words that work for your word association on here. So for me, one of my favorite ones is I put Ganon as my code. And it's because one of the words was triangle and the other word was boss. And so I'm playing with gamers who love Zelda. Like one of my friends is a huge Zelda fan. So when I said Ganon, I knew where he was going to go because the triangle is the symbol of the Triforce, and boss is who you fight in that game. He goes by different names, but Ganon is the main name that everybody knows. And so I did that. And yeah, they were like, oh yeah, this is cool. And then he's like, no, it's this. And it's these 2 right here. These 2. And I love that. And then there's other things like, and if you play with the right crowd and you're okay with like dirty codes and stuff like that, it'll happen there. Because like one of the clues was wood, and my wife went a little vulgar on on hers. And so... So yeah,
Zelda used say Creative Chaos. That's right.
Yeah, so no, we had a blast with this one. I'm shocked that I have not pulled this or gotten this one before. I really do enjoy this one a lot, and it wasn't a surprise that it was on here. But I am a huge fan of Just One, and I think I still rate Just One better. But how well this really does, especially after a follow up to Just One.
Yes.
I do like this one a lot. So Clover was my number 6.
Very cool. My number 6, this is, as I go through my list, you're not going to be surprised one bit about any of these games. I really don't think that. Except for this one, maybe. This is one that, in all honesty, like, it shouldn't be good. By the way, Horrified I played for the first time on October 4th last year, and Living Forest was June 21st of last year. This was June 25th of last year, so 4 days later. Actually, I have multiple in June alone. This one absolutely blew me out of the water because I played it and I was like, look, this is supposed to be one of those, this is just silly, this is having fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a theme that I'm like a huge fan of or anything. I like the theme fine, but it's like, it's okay, whatever. And then I played it and it was the most intense, like this had every bit of every stand-up moment and built into it. This is a cooperative game from Funko Games.
Oh, I know which one this one is. It's semi-cooperative.
Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay, this one. Okay.
The Sands of Time.
This was actually on my short list. It did not make my
Oh
list.
my gosh, does this game rule? Because the way it works is very simple. Indiana Jones Sands of Time has a giant sand timer with 2 baskets on it. Now, this is an important thing to know during this game. It is basically cooperative Uno. Let's be real. That's really kind of all it is. But you are all working to defeat the villain. You have to play a certain number of attack cards before the end of the round. Well, each of the 3 rounds has 2 phases. First is one where you're sending your workers out, moving them around, trying to get the cards you need to get ready for the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you'll roll some dice and maybe even add some plastic gems into one of these baskets. Every time you drop a gem in, it kind of wiggles a little bit, and you're like,
Yeah.
Because at some point during the round, if somebody drops a gem, or even if the table's bumped, or whatever, that sand timer flips around and starts timing. The game becomes real-time cooperative. You have to play those cards in turn order, playing them as best as you can, trying to get all the attacks in before the timer runs out. Oh my gosh, this game is so tense.
And the thing is,
so
like,
good.
The first 2 bosses, you can get away with not defeating
Yes.
them. You'll get penalties.
You'll get penalties if you don't.
But if you don't beat the final boss, you lose.
You're done. Yes. So it's always down to the wire. Because you finish the round, the timer's out, and you either succeeded or didn't, and everyone just sits back and go, oh goodness, oh no. And then you just like have this moment of like, that was, hold on, let me take a breather. And it's so good because, again, it's basically cooperative Uno. That's been done. Like, I have other games that do something like that.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus, the card game is
Hocus
like
Pocus, the card game. Cahoots does that, right?
Yeah.
But none of them add that real-time element. And that totem in the middle that had the baskets that flip that sand timer around is just such a great idea.
And then you have 2 different size gems, too. You have, like, the little tiny ones, and you have the real heavy ones, too.
Oh, man. No, it's... Okay, so it's... Yes, I can understand that having anxiety.
Honestly, I get a lot of anxiety from real-time games, too. This one's not that bad. It's because it's more along the lines, roll your die, roll your die.
Yeah, roll your die, quick. Yeah, it's just genuinely silly is all it is.
It's fun.
And it just pulls it off really well.
Yeah, it's a good game.
And you have like good strategy. Like you have good strategic decisions in those calm rounds. And then you just have to ramp up the communication in like 2 minutes. It's so good. Indiana Jones Sands of Time, I can't recommend it enough. Awesome game.
Moving to number 5.
Number 5, here we go.
To you.
I think that one broke a finger. All right, my number 5. Now, this is one of those examples. I played this on February 4th, so early in the year in 2023. We have a listener, one of our listeners, who is a big fan of this game, and begged us for a copy for a number of months.
Yeah.
This is a card game that I know you quite like.
Yeah,
and I
just missed my list.
I found out just recently that they're making a Target version of it.
Oh, yeah.
Has like a little hang top. I think instead of tokens, it's going to be cards. But good on Oink Games for coming out with this. This is Scout. Nominated for the Spiel des Jahres 2 years ago.
Hey, look, another circus game.
Yeah, another circus game. I do like circus theme, I'm not going to lie. I did kind of like Big Top 2 from All Play, too. That's another circus theme. I'm a big fan. But, no, so this game, it works really well. In Scout, you have a number of cards that are in your hand. Each card has 2 different numbers on each half of the card. So one might be a 10, and then it has like a 4. You shuffle up the cards, you twist them around, all this stuff, and then you fan them out, and you choose one of the 2 sides to set up.
Okay.
But once you choose that side, you can no longer change the order of the cards. You can no longer alter them in any way. Technically, there's a little bit, but... and that's it. What you're trying to do is you're trying to score as many cards as you can. If you're able to play a card and beat somebody's run, then you can score their cards for your points, which is pretty awesome. And how do you do that? Well, you have to play cards that are either in consecutive order or all of the same number. So let's say I put down 3 6s, right?
Yeah.
You would then have to play 3 7s, 8s, 9s, or 10s, or any 4 or more card combination.
So a 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8 would totally beat it. Even though some of those numbers are lower, it doesn't matter. It's the quantity of cards is what beats it. When you beat that combination, you take all the cards that you beat it and you put it in your score pile. Those are worth 1 point per card. Simple as that. However, more likely you're not going to beat it. You're going to play it. You drop a huge hand. Like, let's say I do 4 6s. You're not able to beat it. Yeah. Makes sense. So instead, you can scout on your turn, which means you take either the first or the last card that is from that scored pile that everyone has to beat, and you're going to take it and add it to your hand on either side and in any spot in your hand. That's important because you can't change the order of the cards that are in your hand.
Or the orientation of them once you put them in your hand.
Exactly. So you could take that, one of my 6s that might have like an 8 on the other side, and you're like, ooh, that fits in with my 8s perfectly. However, if it gets back to that same person and nobody's beaten it, then they score it out. They win the round pretty much. However, the thing is, if you think about that, if I played 4 cards and you took one of them, our next player only has to beat 3 cards. Mm-hmm. If he takes one, the next player only has to beat 2 cards, which is much more doable. It's so brilliant. Mm-hmm. It's such a smart design, how it works. Everybody gets a token where you can scout and show, so you can take a card and then show and play some cards. That's simple. And also, when you scout from somebody, you take a card from it, they get a point. So, also another simple, elegant system. There's nothing about this game that isn't great. This immediately replaced another game that I had recently that it was like a card combination thing where you couldn't change the order of the cards.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was the Pandasaurus one, wasn't it?
It was from Amigo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But this, and not Bonanza, by the way. I love Bonanza.
I know which one you're talking about. I'm picturing it
But there's
right
another
now.
one where you do
very
effectively the same
numbers.
things. Yeah, except like the cards don't have 2 different symbols, and you're also not playing it in this weird little back and forth system. It's brilliant. The designer of it is one of already like just up there as far as respect for me.
Yeah,
I like
it's
a lot.
really good.
Scout. Did I ever say the name of it?
Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah.
All right, so my number 5 is not as small as his game. In fact, this is probably one of the bigger games on my list here.
Ooh.
And this is a heavy Euro. I would consider this more on the heaviest side.
Okay.
It's a brand new game from one of my favorite designers and yours.
Okay.
And I'll give you a hint. Cube Tower.
Marrakesh, yes.
Marrakesh, yes.
This was not super high on my list, but it kept getting outranked by other games.
I
liked it.
I like this one. Oops, sorry about that camera shake. I like this one a lot. It's a new Stefan Feld for one thing. I love that Cube Tower. I always wanted more Cube Towers. I now own 2 Cube Tower games. I have, and both of them are Stefan Feld. I have Amerigo and I have Marrakesh.
Yep.
This
is my 3rd Cube Tower game.
It's up there with all the other, like some of the Felds that I like Trajan, like what's the other one? Castles of Burgundy, stuff like that. I do like this one a lot. I love the different types of games you're doing. Depending on the color of the cubes you're taking will give you more power to a certain action that you're trying to take. I love the camel tokens I think is on there.
Yep.
But in fact, I haven't busted out of the wrap, but I do have the expansion for Marrakesh as well because I'm like, yeah, give me more stuff for this. I'm gonna be on that because I love the way this game worked. I had a blast playing this one, though my cube tower was a little wonky, so a lot of the cubes just fell under the tower itself.
Blame the cube tower, sure. Definitely not how you assembled it.
No, I built it right. It just kind of popped out of that little part.
It did.
And it's not the easiest thing to build either.
No, it's really not.
It's a much skinnier cube tower than the one you get in Amerigo.
Right.
So, but I did like it. Marrakesh, phenomenal game. The only problem I have with this one is because there's another game called Marrakesh that is also really good, but that one deals with carpets.
And carpets, yeah.
So I was like, come on. I know it's part of the city line, but come on, man.
Yeah. Pick a different city that sold carpets. I mean, that has... it's really a loose theme.
You could have done like Cairo. That would have been fun.
Ooh, Cairo would have been a fun theme, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Now on to our number 4s.
Number 4s. as you drop the coin for
That's
a
the second time. All right, it's yours.
All right,
We'll flip a different coin from now on.
My number 4 is surprise, surprise. This is the second time this designer is on my list.
Ooh, another Stefan Feld, huh?
Yes, it is actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
And this is a reprint, so it is a new game, but it is a reprint of a game I always wanted to try, never got a chance to. I like this one a lot. Again, going back to what I was saying when we talked about Three Ring Circus, I love multi-use cards. This one is Hamburg.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's a reprint of Bruges. It's multi-use cards. That's the big thing. I know some people are complaining because you had like that one stack and you were drawing from. This one you have like 5 stacks. I actually like the 5 stack rule in this one because it gives you a better chance of like what you're trying to do. So if I'm concentrating on a certain color, like brown, I'm just picking a color off the top of my head, like brown, then I'm probably just going to pull from the brown stack because that's one I'm currently working on. Instead of a random card off the top, it gives me a little bit more agency for what I'm actually doing.
Right.
So yeah, and I love it's like 5 different little games that you're playing. So you have like the pink cards that deal with the people that you're hiring, or the brown cards that are dealing with like the shipping and all this and that. Mm-hmm. I love these kind of point salad games where you're just trying to figure out how you're doing certain things based on the cards that are in your hand. I do enjoy this game a lot. I love the way it plays, the scoring. In fact, this was probably one of the more straightforward ones out of here because we played all the first 4? It was the first 4, yeah, of this. Marrakesh, New York, Hamburg, Amsterdam, I think were the other ends.
Yep.
And this one in New York were probably the 2 more straightforward out of those 4 games. New York is by far the easiest out of the 4. And then there was this one.
Was the most complicated.
Marrakesh was the most complicated, but the easiest one to comprehend. The one that was really bad for me was Amsterdam.
Yeah.
But I do like this.
That's some weird parts in it.
Yeah, it had some weird, finicky stuff. I wish they kind of streamlined it a little bit more. But no, Hamburg, phenomenal. Multi-use cards. Actually pretty decently designed because I could see all the different color of the cards. There wasn't an issue with my colorblindness or your colorblindness. So, yeah, Hamburg. I can't say much more about it. I liked it a lot.
Awesome. Number 4, I played on April 25th of last year. And this one's almost a year ago now. And this one I remember very instinctively because this was the one that I played the entirety of in Gamma. So I played a full game of it. There's another one on my list. I also played a Gamma that I didn't play a full game of it, so I won't have it till later. But this one I did play the full game at Gamma with our mutual friend, Dom.
I know what this is, so.
You know what this is, yep, I know.
It was on my short list, too.
No, you have not played this one.
You want to bet?
This is a 2-player cooperative dice rolling game.
Oh! I thought it was the other one that you guys played there.
Nope.
The one that Damn It Dom really loves.
Probably. But no, this is a 2-player cooperative dice rolling game. You are cooperatively rolling dice secretly to try and land a plane.
Yeah, I knew this was going to be on your list. In fact, I thought this was going to be higher.
Number 4.
I thought it was going to be your top 2.
I considered it. I genuinely considered it. This was in top 2 from Gamma, but there were 2 other games that irked out a little bit more.
No, I literally thought this was going to be your 1 or your 2.
Yeah, I don't blame you. No, the Sky Team is so cool. The way this game works is really simple. You have a whole control panel in between the 2 players. It has a leveling gauge, like where your plane is flying. You have to keep it as flat as you can, and that will determine different things. There is the speed on which way you're going. You have to clear out airplanes from the ground control, get those out of the way before you get too close. You have to lower your elevation. You have to apply the brakes, apply the wings. Brilliant idea. Sounds super complicated, but the first initial game, fairly simple. When we played it, we beat it pretty handily, and we're like, okay, that was pretty intense. And I remember looking over at the guy. I was like, well, I mean, we won. Like, it was fun. And he was like, oh, cool. Like, well, you beat that scenario. Like, huh? He was like, oh, yeah. I was like, I don't know how many, but there's at least like 10 or 12 different scenarios that you can do. Everything that adds like blizzard weather to like wind speeds to like losing fuel to like just like dealing with like interns and stuff that are like causing problems. Like, what? And yeah, there's all these shenanigans of what happened throughout the multiple scenarios. This is one of those games where I actually, like, I pretty much had to beg my wife to try it. She tried it, and she was like, actually, that was really cool.
I do want to try this. Like I said, it's just hard for 2-player games to get played here.
I know.
So.
Yeah, but no, I adore this game. This was easily one of my highlights of the year, by far.
I'm still shocked that this is...
When you see the others, you're going to know. It'll make a lot more sense.
I know what one of the others is. I just don't know where it's at on your list, but I know what one of them is. Because it's probably on my list, too.
Probably. But that is Sky Team, April 25th.
Scorpion Mask, right?
Scorpion Mask. Yep.
All right, flip the coin, because we're on our 3s now.
Are we really? All right. So
my 4 was Hamburg.
Heads and tails. All right, here we go. Have to pick a different one. I'll be starting us off. Number 3. This one is the third one from the same design group. Technically Horrified Greek Monsters. I still
consider it theirs.
Indiana Jones was theirs, but this one
I know what this
blew me
one
out of the water. Which one is it?
It's Rear Window.
No.
That's not 2020?
I played that a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
No, this is one of their newest ones.
Yeah.
In fact, this is the second to last cooperative game that I have on my list as well. This has Disney. And we are painters.
Really?
And animators in Disney. This is Walt Disney Animated.
I do like this, but it didn't make my it did make my short list, but it did not make my...
I love this game.
See, I thought this was Rear Window because I thought you played that last year.
Oh, I love Rear Window. It's up there. But this Walt Disney Animated was just a highlight beyond a highlight.
It is a good game. I like it a lot.
It's so cool how you're working because you have the system that was first used in Ark Nova. And
it was not first used in Ark Nova. A few other games have used it before, but it got popular.
But you have a sliding activation system where you have 5 different actions, and when you use the activation, you slide the card down, do the action based on where its position is, and then that goes to the bottom of the list. And the higher up the positions are, the better you could do the action. So the timing is really important. Ark Nova did get famous with this action system, but everyone had their own set of cards. And you can like upgrade them and stuff like that. That's fine, but everyone is working competitively against each other. In Animated, you're working cooperatively. And what makes the theme so wild is that since you're the animators of all of these films, the villains that are in the films are fighting against you because they know they're going to lose at the end of the movie. So they're trying to defeat the animators to prevent them from making the film. What a bizarre idea, but man, does it work.
Well, it's been done before. Well, not in a game-wise, but there was Disney cartoons that were...
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like
Bugs Bunny cartoons have them where he's fighting the animator.
Sure. Even what was it? Quest for the Holy Grail did that at some point. Yeah. The animator died away. The guy just dies. Right. It's a simple idea, but just the fact that how well they produced it. You have to build the backgrounds using the paint symbols. You have every character is different based on every movie. The villains work differently based on what movie it is.
You get certain special abilities based on the movie.
You get certain special abilities based on the movies. Then after you paint your characters, they have a little plastic overlay that go over the backdrop scene.
Yep.
It's so cool.
And you have to build that scene completely before you can put the overlay.
Yep. Yeah, so, I'm going to tell you this right now. Last time I checked on Amazon, it was like $20.
Oh, it's a good game.
Yeah, so worth it. Walt Disney Animated. I adore this game. Number 3 from last year.
So, my number 3 is actually quite an older game. But I finally got to... You've been harping this. You need to try this. You're going to like this game. You're going to like this game. And I'm like, well, you're the only one that owns it, so you need to bring it over for me to try this game. You're finally like, I want to get this to the table again. I'm like, well, then bring it over. And it's your game night. You've been wanting to play it. Here we go. Let's do this. And because you kept saying I would like this game because I love this mechanism. A lot of the games that share this mechanism, you're like, if you like this for what it does, you're going to do this. And I'll give you the mechanism. Action retrieval. We did a whole top 8 debate on this specific mechanism.
Yeah, I don't remember the action retrieval.
It's right behind your head on the shelf here, and that is Concordia.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I like the fact that it's an action retrieval, so the cards you have in your hand, you play them down, you can't use that power again until you pick them up. I love that mechanism. I think more games should use that kind of style. I like that over, say, like drafting and stuff like that.
Sure,
So
sure.
I like the way this one works. What I really also like about it, it's because it's got a little bit of area control. It's got a little bit of set collection. It's got like all mechanisms just thrown together that just sings so well. It's like a kitchen sink game. It's got like this. It's got area control. It's got this. It's got that. Resource management, bonus points based on stuff that you do throughout the game. Your cards can give you bonuses as well because they are a certain type and stuff like that. I enjoyed the mess out of it, and I knew this was going to be in my top half of the thing. I didn't know where it was going to land. It unfortunately fell to 3. But yeah, no,
Unfortunately.
yeah, because the other 2 games above this, they sing a lot more for me, and this is just it. I love everything about this game. The art could use a little upgrade, and the colorblind friendly for like the territories and stuff like that could be a little bit better. But yeah, no, for as old as it is, and it's not that old. It's like what, 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's showing its tooth a little bit. But man, this game is fun, and that is Concordia.
Cool. And now to our number 2s. Here we go. You'll be starting us.
All right. So my number 2 is a game that will shock you that it's one of my favorite games because of the designer. But I played this game and it made my top 100 how much I liked it. And you were shocked then too because of the designer. Because you're like, you have him in your top 100? Because I've been very resistant to play a lot of his games because the ones I played, I did not like it.
Is this the Doctor?
This is the Doctor, Rainer Knizia. And I had to make sure this was played. It was played in early 2023, and I liked it so much, I ended up buying myself a copy from Zia Comics.
Yes.
We just recently played it.
Close on my list.
Which game is this?
Millie Fiore.
Oh, yeah. Ganshan Knizia.
Ganshan Knizia, yeah.
I love everything about this game because it gives you that combos of like Roll and Rights we talked about, like Ganshan Clever. Yep. It makes drafting fun. Don't get me wrong. I like drafting games a lot more than you do.
Yep.
But I like what this does because you draft the
card. This does it well.
And you play that card in that round.
This is my number 12.
And I really, really do love this game a lot. We just recently played it earlier this year. My one pick that I've had this year. We played it because we played this with Nightmare Production. We played it with, what is that one? Blue Moon City and Millie Fiore. I really, really do enjoy this game. It's just, you're playing it, and when I talk about like Stefan Feld when it came to Point Salad, you're literally, the cards you draft are playing in 5 distinct areas. You're either building in this one little section, I call it the orange section, because you're trying to build sets over here, or you're trying to unlock keys here because they give you special abilities, or you're going down here and you're playing either on the lobster or the, I forget what that section is called, but it's like lobsters and crowns and stuff like that. That gives you a little bit of bonuses based on how you're playing in that section. So like the first one there is not going to give you a lot, but once you start getting other stuff in there and you're building up in a pyramid or you're unlocking more keys, and then you have your shipping goods, and so you're trying to build up the trade goods, and if you make a good deal, you get a bonus action. Just everything just bouncing, and if you don't like any of that, just sell your ship and you get points based off of that. It's just everything about this thing just sings, and it plays so quickly for a game as big as it is. It plays... If
maybe like 5 rounds.
If everybody knows what they're doing, you can get it done in less than an hour, like 45 minutes at the most, really. Because I think we played a 3-player game of this and we're done in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's just that simple. You pull your card, you put your tokens out there, you get your points, and I like how everything gives you a bonus point. So like if you get all 4 symbols in the orange section, you get, if you're the first one there, you get like 20 points off of that. If you get 4 or 5 different numbers in the key area, you get points off of that. Then you get, if you're the first one there, you get bonus points off of that. Same thing with the I forget what they are, but you're like building a pyramid. If you're the first one there, they get all 4 symbols in that section, you get points off of that. If you're the first one to get certain things over here, points off of that. It's just, there's so many points all over the board. You're on average, are going to score well into the 150s, close to the 200s. I think in our game, I had
we've gotten into 200s.
Yeah, I think the first game I ever played of this, I got like 235 points or something like that.
Which is really satisfying, isn't it?
Oh my god, it is so fun. Heinz agrees that the game is great and it is very pretty. I love everything about this, and I'm shocked because I wasn't a huge fan of Reiner Knizia, so I played Raw originally at 2 players. Couldn't stand it.
Yep.
I'm sold more on Raw now with more players.
With more players, yeah. Agreed.
Another one, I didn't like Lost Cities. I didn't like whatever, the Lost Cities, the board game, or Keltis is the other name of it. Didn't care for that one, but like Siege of Rundar was really good, and this one just took it through the roof. This is such a good game.
That makes sense. I couldn't agree more. This is our number 2?
This is our number 2, yep.
My number 2 is probably the one that you think that you know what it might think it be.
The one that you completely played? Because I know the one that you didn't finish.
So there was one game I played at Gamma, and we had to finish right before the end of the game.
Okay, so this is the other one.
Because we were getting kicked out. Yes,
yeah, I know this was your unfinished game.
And not us getting kicked out specifically.
It's just a Gamma.
It was closing
the expo
down.
had to close.
Yeah. And so at the expo, it was closing down. It was the game night where they were demonstrating it. In fact, not only this, the owner of the company was the one who taught it to us, and he had an amazing demo. He explained it in one of the most thorough, consistent, concise ways I've seen in a long time.
This is your number 2. Interesting.
This is my number 2. This is one of those games where
I think I know what your number 1 is then.
The more I think about this game, is the more I want to play it. The more I'm like, Daniel, do you have like an extra hour or so? Let's bust it out, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, did I like this game. This is Earth from Inside Up Games.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't like games like this.
It's tableau building, card tableaus.
I mean, yeah, it's a Euro, but like all of the predecessors before this that do this same idea.
Mm-hmm.
Everdell, it was fine. Wingspan, it was fine. Terraform Mars, it was fine. None of those games lived up to it. And that's what I was expecting going into it. So our mutual friend Dom, he was like, I gotta try this. I'm like, alright, I'll sit with you and I'll play it.
I knew I was going to like it.
When we finished, where it was like, wow, this is the first one that stepped up to that bar that all those other games claim to do. And I tell that to people, not because I put down their game, but I want them to know, it's like, this is the one that has finally gotten that echelon for me. And because of that praise alone, I can't help but encourage it. Plus, I'm a sucker for how it looks.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I'm a sucker for how many cards there are. And how, yes, it takes a few minutes to learn, but everything where it's like, once you get a basic understanding of the functions, and you ask, like, whoever's teaching is like, wait, does that mean this works like this? It's almost always, yes. Yeah? It's like, wait, so does that mean I can do this?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And then you just feel really satisfying.
Yep.
And this is the only game out of all of last year where I took a picture of a move that I made. I was like, guys, look at this. And I sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, you know what this means.
Yep.
Like, I just dropped 30 cards from my hand into the compost. Oh my gosh. That was an amazing... I've been saving up for like 5 rounds just to do this. It's so good. And the fact that everyone plays on every person's team... Oh my gosh. Yeah, this game is great. I'm sure it's going to be in my top 100 next time. I can't stop talking about it, so I'm going to have to stop now.
Okay.
Earth by Inside Up Games. Phenomenal game.
All right, I'm just going to go first on my number 1 because this was my number 1.
Yep,
Earth.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, so I really did enjoy this game a lot. I enjoyed the mess out of it. I do have one gripe for Earth, though.
Sure.
I understand what they were going for with this, with the great components, by the way, on this one. But there's one component that irks me because I thought I was missing a player color component on here.
Same here.
It turns out they're not the player colors. They just wanted to give you variability, like the eggs from Wingspan. Why did you make them the player colors then?
Yeah, the treetops.
The treetops, yeah. So don't make them the player colors. Just use different colors.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you gotta do. Yeah. If you want to use those specific colors for the treetops, then give us different player colors. You can give us the blue, the whites, the blacks, and stuff like that. It's fine because they gave us like player colors of red, purple, green, blue, and then they gave us the treetops of those same colors. The only ones that was kind of off was like the reddish orange one.
Yeah.
So
then we're like, Wait, is this token for the red?
Yeah,
or what?
I had a big issue with that. Other than that small gripe, this game is phenomenal. This is just the tableau building. And in fact, the next time we go over to my other game group, we're actually going to do nature games because this is the game I specifically want to show them because I think my wife would adore the mess out of this one because she loves Terraforming Mars. She loves Wingspan. Mm-hmm. She likes those tableau building, but her biggest gripe, especially for Terraforming Mars, is just it's so overly complicated or it's really long. Like, she likes Wingspan and she's fine with that one. I think it was like her number 2 game.
Yeah.
But I think she'll like Earth because it does everything Terraforming Mars does in a smaller amount of time.
Yeah.
The only difference between this one and Terraforming Mars is you're building a tableau of your own ecosystem, where Terraforming Mars, everybody's building the board, and that's what makes it take a little bit longer, because once someone gets their 16th card out there, that's it. So, I agree with you. Everything you said about it. This is my game of the last year and a couple months. It is phenomenal. I knew what my number 1 is before I even looked at my list. I'm like, no, I already know what the number 1 is. Because that's how much I like it.
I was a little surprised this wasn't my number 1.
I'm surprised it's not your number 1.
Yep.
Think I kind of know what your number 1 is?
I'm curious to hear what you say.
Is it a collective card game?
No.
No, okay, then I don't know what your number 1 is.
Cooperative.
Oh. Is it a cooperative of a game that was already around?
A cooperative of a game... Oh,
that wasn't.
You're thinking Mists of Carcassonne?
No, I'm thinking of King of Monster Island.
Nope.
Okay.
That was on my list. No, this game I have ranted to you guys. I don't remember if I made you play it yet, but I know I've been saying I've been needing to make you play it. This is now one of my son's new favorite games.
Which one is this one then?
This had
exclusive
Target
version.
My
god, I forgot this was barely played last year. Wow.
So I got this in Christmas of 2022 and got it played. Yep. I got it played as of that, I think January.
I thought this was played in 2022. That's why I was like...
Yep, January 20th of 2023 was when I played it. Earth was November of last year, technically.
The full game.
The full game. Do you know what it is now?
Oh, yeah, I know what it is. Do you want to say the full game or the big one that you played? The big one? Okay, then Spirit Island.
Spirit Island.
Because I know you started with Horizons of Spirit Island.
Spirit Island. So good.
Honestly, I knew if I had thought about it, I knew this would have been your number 1. The only problem with it is because I thought you played it the year before.
And the reason I might have played Horizons of Spirit Island, but the only reason I'm not counting that is because that put it on the radar for me. I was like, okay, this is really cool. And I played it, I think, with my game group, and they liked it, but it was really too many players. Mm-hmm. But when I got the actual Spirit Island for Christmas from my wife, I sat down and played it with my son, and that's when it was just beyond. It was so much better than even the original one, and the original one was great. Or the original one, I say the original one, Horizons of Spirit Island, was the one I first originally played.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is just a phenomenal game. Oh my goodness, yeah. There's only one game that could have beaten out that, and that was this. Miss over Carcassonne, I thought that's what you were talking about.
No.
That was about midway on my group or list.
I liked it,
I liked it a lot, but I liked
it. It was on my short list, yeah.
But it didn't do enough different.
Yeah.
Right? Just like Your Tale's So Amazing. I'm like, I played Carcassonne, now it has a co-op variant. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough different. But yeah, Spirit Island, phenomenal game. This is my oldest game that's on this list, obviously, but I loved it.
All right, before we get out of here, I'm just going to run through a short list of games that were honorable mentions. We've already mentioned a few that bumped off your list, but I'm going to talk about a couple more. I thought Disney Lorcana would have been on your list. It was short on my short list. It was in 15 or so. It was in the teens.
Lorcana was number 24.
Another one was Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the pandemic game. I really do enjoy that one. Another one that was on the short list too was Star Wars: The Deck Building Game. Stupid name, great game.
Yep.
It's probably one of the only few 2-player games I actually own. And there's a few others that I really enjoyed. The oldest game on this list, and I've only played it for the first time since 2023, Sid Saxon.
Oh. Sleuth, wow.
Yeah, so that made my list as well.
That's an oldie.
Challengers was on the list. Tsukiyumi Full Moon Down was a good one.
Mine.
The one I was thinking you were talking about at Gamma that you played a full game of was Tidal Blades Banner Festival.
I did really like it, but it's not. I don't even own it yet.
Oh, okay.
And I can't. It was okay.
Another one that hit my short list was Sea Salt and Paper. Okay. And I think you'll like this one because they're friends of the podcast. We like them a lot. Millennium Blades actually made my short list.
Millennium Blades is dope.
And Fox Experiment. That's the last one I want to talk about. Also, shockingly, Stonemaier didn't make my list. Apiary was on my short list, but
it wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough.
Some of the ones that's worth knowing on mine, Turing Machine, Radlands, Marrakesh was on there, Dwarf Romantic, Challengers, Lorcana, Miss Over Carcassonne, King's Dilemma, but I want to play that more, I think.
Yeah.
Roll for Adventure.
That was on my short list, too.
The oldest game that was on this was Hoity Toity. That was a great game.
That's the...
Hoity-toity.
That's the one that won the Spiel, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's so wild. The same game, Unboxed, was even on my list because I really enjoyed our play of it.
I enjoyed it. It didn't make my list, though.
And TI-4 was on my short list as well.
Ring Circus was also on my short list. World Wonders was another one, too.
Oh.
I had Orkeo Society on the list, but I didn't want to... It changed enough for me to put it on the list, but I also was like, it's fine compared to, was the original one, Ethnos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still wasn't going to make my list. I did enjoy it, though.
That's right. So, coming up pretty soon, I'm going to make an announcement now that you started off with something that was brand new to us. There is a good chance that we are going to be running a contest pretty soon. We'll discuss the details later on, and we'll let everybody know when we decide to do it. But we want to let you know that if you ever want to email us, whether it is to enter in future contests, give us ideas for future episodes, or even just to email us and say hello, you can email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. Also, we now have an Instagram. So check out Instagram.com/everydayboardgames-1.
No, it was something I was doing over there. I accidentally put that on.
Instagram.com/everydayboardgames.
Yeah, no, the -1, I don't know how that got added. I think I was trying to clean something up and accidentally added it. Let me fix that for you. As well as all video re-uploads will be found on YouTube under youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And I dropped the podcast, so now it's just at Everyday Board Games.
Oh, okay.
If you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on the platform. Subscribe if you're not. Like the video down below, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject.
And if you ever want to join us on the live taping of our episodes, which you definitely should, because that also gives you extra chances to join in on future contests. Again, hint, we're implying something here. Like our friends Creative Chaos, Heinz, or Luminous. We would appreciate everybody for joining in and chatting with us. Join us at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames, where we stream our episodes live.
And finally, you can find us on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Google, Amazon Music, Podbean, and of course, Apple.
So we want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.